It's Thursday, November 16th, and this is The National. Tonight, the latest plans for legalized weed.
We are inside Zimbabwe, the country at a crossroads.
But we begin in a now familiar place, a high-profile man and a woman saying, "Me too." From Hollywood heavyweights to big-name entertainers, high-profile media personalities, even a former U.S. president. The stories of sexual assault and harassment being leveled against powerful men just keep on coming. The accusation started with producer Harvey Weinstein 6 weeks ago, and they haven't stopped. Look at the running tally now. George H.W. Bush, Kevin Spacey, Dustin Hoffman, Richard Dreyfuss, among many others added to the list. And tonight, one more. U.S. Senator and former Saturday Night Live comedian Al Franken. A radio host alleges that Franken forcibly kissed her and on another occasion groped her while she was sleeping. She says the tide of alleged victims coming forward to tell their stories made her feel safe enough to finally tell hers. Here's Paul Hunter.
It happened at one of those stage shows American entertainers put on for U.S. soldiers overseas, this one in Kuwait in '06. On the left, then comedian, now Senator Al Franken. On the right, then model, now broadcaster Leanne Tweeden.
His lips were really wet and it was slimy, and he stuck his tongue down my mouth, and I remember I pushed him off with my hands.
It was backstage, she said, forced and unwanted.
And I said, if you ever do that to me again, I'm not going to be so nice about it the second time.
What's more, this photo she revealed today, taken on the flight home with Tweeden asleep, Franken all smiles.
I was violated. I just felt like, he betrayed my trust.
Franken, thought by some to be a future Democratic presidential candidate, today apologized, calling his actions disgusting and unfunny, though he said his memory of the kiss differs from Tweeden's. Leaders from both parties want an ethics investigation, as Franken now joins an ever-growing list of powerful men caught in allegations of harassment and assault, including film producer Harvey Weinstein, comedian Louis C.K., and Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore, who, amid applause today, dismissed the allegations against him, including that when he was 32, he fondled a 14-year-old girl.
They're not only untrue, but they have no evidence to support them.
On Capitol Hill today, Donald Trump did not answer questions about Franken or Moore. Trump himself came under fire last year over allegations of assault and harassment.
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her.
Before 60 million Americans voted him into the White House. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Now, one more note on this story. Trump may not have wanted to talk to reporters about Franken, but he couldn't hold that urge in for very long. He posted this on Twitter tonight. The Al Frankenstein picture is really bad, speaks 1,000 words. Where do his hands go in pictures 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 while she sleeps? Well, there are new allegations against actor Kevin Spacey tonight. At least 20 men have now complained to London's Old Vic Theatre about inappropriate behavior by Spacey while he was an artistic director there.
We've learned that it's not enough to have the right process in place. Everyone needs to feel that they can speak out, no matter who they are.
The alleged incidents range from behavior that made people feel uncomfortable to sexually inappropriate touching. Spacey was artistic director at the Old Vic for almost a decade, from 2004 to 2013. Well, there are lots of questions tonight over the death of a Toronto police officer. He died of a fentanyl overdose, and he was a member of the drug squad. Constable Michael Thompson died last April after he was found at his home in medical distress. But it was only a couple of months later that tests revealed it was a drug overdose, in fact, that killed him. Police say there was enough fentanyl in his system that they don't think it could have happened from casual contact. So now one of the big questions is whether Thompson got the drugs through his job. The service has already reviewed the way they log and store evidence.
Is one of the first things that we took a look at to see if there was anything that we could do just on the chance that he did take drugs from the unit to try and prevent that from happening again.
Toronto police also say they're looking into the types of supports and wellness services offered to the force to try to prevent this from happening to any other officer.
We know more tonight about how marijuana will be sold in this country after it becomes legal. Alberta and Quebec are the latest provinces to spell out their plans. The Quebec government will tightly control pot sales through its provincial liquor board, just like Ontario and New Brunswick have proposed. A pretty different model, though, out west. Alberta will have private retail managing the sales of legal pot, similar to what Manitoba has announced. So 5 provinces have now figured out how they were going to sell weed. There are still many issues that haven't been ironed out. And given the government wants it legal by Canada Day next year, some provinces and indeed police agencies say that timeline is still far too ambitious.
The legalization is done by the federal government of Mr. Trudeau. It's not a choice that we made.
Quebec is one of the provinces urging Ottawa to push back the July 1st legalization deadline by a year, in part because it wants to know how the federal government is going to divvy up an expected hundreds of millions of dollars in new revenue.
The costs are going to be incurred by the provinces, not by the federal government. So why should the federal government have any additional revenue when they don't have any additional, or very few additional costs?
Provincial costs include more policing, enforcement of impaired driving laws, and the still unknown impacts on the healthcare system. Provinces say the Trudeau government's deadline is artificial, but Ottawa is pushing ahead, arguing that any delay puts children at further risk and millions more dollars into the hands of organized crime.
The urgency of getting this work done is based on what's currently happening to our kids in our communities today, and that the price of delay is unacceptable.
As we mentioned, Alberta, one of 2 provinces that revealed plans for selling pot today. I spoke with the province's justice minister earlier tonight. Many provinces feel they can't be ready by that July 1st deadline. Why are you so confident that you can be?
Well, the deadline is certainly ambitious, and it does rely on us getting a bunch of information from the federal government that we have outlined recently in a letter to the premiers. But I think, we sort of had a choice between either getting ourselves ready and aiming to be ready in time, or waiting for the federal government to impose their model on us. And I think that it was much better for us to move forward and impose a model that Albertans were comfortable with.
And why did you decide to use the private distribution model?
A lot of that had to do with feedback we received from Albertans. It also means that government doesn't have to pay upfront costs or take upfront risks on that. Here in Alberta, we don't retail anything, so we don't retail liquor, and we don't have sort of retail outlets for registries or anything like that.
I know you've worked on this for a long time. You've done a lot of consultations. Is there anything, though, that you are still concerned about?
I think we're still waiting on a number of pieces of information from the federal government. We would like to have reassurances in terms of the amount of supply, that there will be a sufficient supply there so that we can move the illegal market into the legal market as much as possible.
And have you had any indication from the federal government that they can give you any of those answers soon?
Not as of yet, but as I've said, myself in conjunction with the minister from Manitoba, working with all of the ministers from the provinces and territories, have actually written a letter to the premiers in terms of what we think we need in order to have readiness, and then that in turn can be advocated on to the federal government.
Thanks for your time, Minister. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
So not a lot of time, Adrienne, and still lots to do on that one.
And a lot that's uncertain, which goes for a lot of the stories we're looking at tonight, including, Rosie, the latest developments in Zimbabwe. So less than 48 hours since the military rolled into Harare and, by all appearances, started calling the shots, there is finally proof Robert Mugabe is alive, proof that the country is ready for his presidency to end. But as Margaret Evans tells us from inside Harare tonight, there is no evidence that Mugabe is dancing off the stage willingly.
The Zimbabwean capital, Harare, 2 days into a coup that the army is still saying isn't a coup. But the streets are far too quiet for rush hour traffic, and there is a sense here of the pendulum swinging. Every newsstand in town shouts it out. Robert Mugabe, once the strong man of Africa, is now under house arrest. Today, pictures of the 93-year-old emerged for the first time since the Tuesday night takeover. Meeting with his alleged jailer, the head of the Zimbabwean Defense Forces, and with South African envoys reportedly tasked with convincing Mugabe to step down voluntarily. People on the street are certainly anxious for it.
We don't have many words about it. Mugabe must go. That's the only way that Mugabe must go. He should be stepped down. He's supposed to step down.
Pundits say it's important for the army that Mugabe himself makes the move.
To all intents and purposes, this is a military takeover, which is likely to lead to a transition. Whether or not this transition will be democratic or not is another question altogether.
Rumors are rife and much still unclear and unconfirmed, but the expectation is that the man Mugabe fired last week, his vice president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, backed by the army, will take over the presidency and perhaps reach out to opposition politicians, including Morgan Tsvangirai of the Movement for Democratic Change.
In the interest of the people of Zimbabwe, Mr. Robert Mugabe must resign, step down immediately in line with the national sentiment and expectation.
Robert Mugabe, of course, has never been known for doing what's expected of him, but the army is now in charge, and the prospect of a slightly more dignified exit from Zimbabwe's political stage might be tempting, especially if it comes with guarantees for his family and in particular for his wife Grace, such a polarizing figure in this country. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Harare.
Now, there's a reason calls for Mugabe to go are multiplying now. Why the public in Zimbabwe seems so eager to throw itself behind what is widely seen as a military takeover. It's about the desperate need for change in Zimbabwe, which looks a lot like this. Bank lineups in 2008 and bank lineups a few months ago. This is a country with a cash crisis that doesn't get better. Just under a decade ago, the currency was so devalued, we watched people cart around wheelbarrows of money, billions of largely useless Zimbabwean dollars.
How much money do you make all day out here?
$250 million or 300.
And what can that buy you?
Bus fare.
That currency was ditched for the American dollar, but Zimbabwe had the largest public debt in the world and 80% of people living below the poverty line. So U.S. cash dwindled too. There's a new bill, the bond note. It's no better, according to journalists who are struggling to make ends meet and make this country make sense.
So you find that some banks will say you can withdraw $40. Some banks will say you can withdraw $50. I'm told some would even say less, and some would even give you all that money in coins. So you kind of have to spend almost your day waiting for cash and get a bit of it so that you can come again.
If you're even able to earn money, Zimbabwe's unemployment numbers range from 4%, according to the government, to 95%, according to activists.
I was doing a story yesterday, and this individual told me that they want change. Any change is better than no change. So right now, people are just optimistic about how it's all going to end.
Any change that leaves them with some change simply to make do. Of course, Mugabe's legacy goes beyond economic hardship. Both he and the generals who are taking control now presided over purges and persecution. People were arrested, beaten, and tortured. Some fled to Canada, but their memories came with them. And these days, especially, they are close to the surface.
I left Zimbabwe with my family in 2001 because we did not feel safe under the Mugabe's rulership.
2000 and 2001 was the worst years of my life. Most of the time, you go to work, you think you're going to perform your duties as a nurse. Those youth thugs, they'll come and get us from work to go into the field. And our job was just to sing and to cheerleading them while they were beating white farmers, taking over their possessions, their land.
We went door to door. Actually encouraging people to vote no to dictatorship and no to one-party state, as well as no to life presidency. And from then on, people were being targeted.
And one particular day, I wasn't feeling well, and I did not go. They came, the boys, his boys, the so-called youths, They came and picked me up and took me to the police station, where I thought police is supposed to protect us as civilians. But I was beaten. I was beaten. A lot of times you are driving home, you just see suspicious cars following you. And it's one of those things that you think, okay, if I'm gonna die, nobody will know where I am at, because the place where they'll take us, no one will know. And when they release you barefooted. It was very difficult. We left our families. We had to leave everything that we had, and we left with a suitcase just full of clothes, literally, and a few belongings. And by the time I get home, it was just it. I mean, I didn't have that much money to bring my children to buy like 3 tickets for us. I just left my children in the custody of my sister. As a parent, how would you answer your child? Or how do you say goodbye to your child? It's not like goodbye, it's not a good thing to say, especially as a parent to your own children. Like, I didn't know how to say goodbye to them. I just turned my back and crying myself all the way. That's all I could do. A lot of people are in support of the army, of what the army has done. Because people have been oppressed and suppressed and repressed for a long, long time. At times you think, is it real that Mugabe is going? So for us to see him like this and to know that he's just a mere man has been an exciting thing to watch. But we still have a lot of work to do to restore our nation.
Those are just some of the people who have had to pay for Mugabe's rule. We will have much more ahead tonight on The National. Russia's chances of competing in the next Olympics are looking slimmer this evening. We'll go rinkside with members of that country's national hockey team.
Is the Liberal government really the best judge of how well it's doing on fulfilling promises? My favorite day. The At Issue panel will weigh in about 15 minutes.
And a Marketplace hidden camera investigation will take you undercover at the car dealership. How their advice may cost you more.
The average consumer sees that, they think, oh, I can afford that car, I can manage that, no problem. But it's just another way of bringing consumers into the dealership and selling them something that they really can't afford.
So they may have won big in Sochi, but an Olympics without a Russian flag or a Russian national anthem is tonight a distinct possibility. The eligibility of hundreds of athletes is in question because of that country's dirty past with doping connected to the Kremlin.
The RUSADA is still non-compliant.
RUSADA, that's Russia's anti-doping agency. It's been suspended since 2015 after evidence emerged of widespread state-sponsored doping. The World Anti-Doping Agency set out key steps for its reinstatement, but announced today that Russia has not done enough.
The agreed roadmap for compliance for the Russian anti-doping agency has been fulfilled in many ways, but there are still 2 issues which remain unfulfilled.
And those 2 issues, as you'll see in a minute, are big sticking points. But caught in the middle, the athletes. Moscow correspondent Chris Brown spoke to some Olympic hopefuls who think they are in the penalty box unfairly.
Every day that goes by, it seems less likely Russian athletes will be allowed to compete in South Korea's Winter Games. But women on the national team keep practicing hard. It's the goal of every athlete. We'll be upset if they don't let us go, says Angelina Goncharenko. The decision from the World Doping Agency that Russia remains non-compliant came out just as practice started. Their coach, who's new to the job, was angry. We have a competitive team that can fight for a medal, but honestly, it will be the highest injustice if our team will not be able to participate there, he said.
By the FSB
in a secret operation.
Richard McLaren, the Canadian professor who led WADA's investigation, concluded otherwise, that Russia's doping agency, sports ministry, and secret police all conspired together to help more than 1,000 athletes cheat doping tests over 2 Olympic Games.
McLaren's report claimed that every member of Russia's last Olympic women's hockey team at Sochi had dirty samples swapped for clean ones. And they know this because when those dirty samples were tested, they discovered male DNA, something that could never happen naturally.
Angelina Goncharenko says she didn't cheat and can't explain what was going on. I just don't know, she says. As athletes, our job is to give a sample, but then maybe they did something. I just don't know. Our job is to train. They asked us to give a sample, and we did. The new leadership of Russia's anti-doping agency says it has done everything WADA asked to clean up its act. Almost. There were 2 points that were beyond our prerogative, says Yuri Ganis. Those 2 points are letting WADA into the Russia lab and an admission from Russia's government that, yes, it ordered the cheating. That will likely never happen. Vladimir Putin has suggested the doping controversy is being inflamed by the West to make him look bad, heading into elections just weeks after the Winter Olympics end. With just 3 months till the competition, it's hard to see the compromise that would let Russia compete. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
If there is a compromise, it will be IOC chief Thomas Bach who will announce it. Awkward, given his close Russian ties. The world first learned about Russian doping from the reporting of this man. His name is Hayo Seppelt. He's a German journalist, and we reached him in South Korea this evening, early morning his time. He says this is going to be a little bit tricky for Bach.
My feeling is that Thomas Bach wants to avoid, under any circumstances, to apply a collective punishment against Russia. It's very obvious that he has very, very tight connections to Russia for years. And if you don't apply tough sanctions against this country, then you have lost everything and you lose every credibility. And it gives obviously the feeling to the worldwide audience that a country is obviously allowed to do everything.
You can expect talk of that decision in early December. The IOC will decide in about 3 weeks whether to allow Russia to compete in Pyeongchang. It's just waiting on results from 2 commissions. One of them is retesting all the samples from Russian athletes who competed in Sochi. But even if the IOC leaves the door open to Russia, that's still not necessarily the final word. Each sport's governing body could determine eligibility case by case based on the athlete's doping records.
Back here at home, car sales, they're a big economic indicator, and they've been through the roof in recent years. That sounds like good news. But as a CBC Marketplace investigation has uncovered, some dealers use questionable advice that could actually sink Canadians deep into debt. Here's David Common.
Want to know how car dealers have hit record sales in Canada? It all begins with pitches like this.
112 biweekly at 0%.
Low payments, stretched out over a really long time.
7 years.
More than half of new car loans are for 7 years or longer, a big shift from what was the norm, 4 or maybe 5 years. We're also buying more expensive cars because of those low payments.
The average consumer sees that, they think, oh, I can afford that car, I can manage that, no problem. But it's just another way of bringing consumers into the dealership and selling them something that they really can't afford.
In your opinion, for the average person, what is the best length of time for a car loan?
No more than 5 years.
I would say ideally 4 years, but you could stretch it to 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 and 8?
No.
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 And yet, at most dealerships Marketplace surveyed with hidden cameras, the clear push was for long-term loans.
84 months, 7 years.
And that's for 7 years?
7 years.
We showed that hidden camera video to Ontario's auto regulator, and he was not impressed.
That to me is short-sighted, just a recipe for problems.
John Carmichael says salespeople should be explaining all the loan options and the risks.
And that is the challenge, obviously, is for a consumer to make a fully informed decision. They need a lot more information than that.
Because people can get into a treadmill of debt. Take Chantel Matthews, who is like thousands of Canadians. She bought a car on an 8-year loan. It had mechanical problems right from the start, so she traded it in early for another car on another loan. But the trade-in value on that first car was less than the debt that was still owing. Chantel is still paying the debt on a car she no longer owns. It's been combined with the loan for her new car.
With the two cars, it was about 50 grand.
$50,000.
Yep.
You seem very calm about that.
I've accepted the fact because I still have to pay it. I can't get out of it, so I have to pay it.
Chantel is not alone. A quarter of Canadian trade-ins have bigger loans than the car is worth. And that's called negative equity. It's not good.
Not good, and it costs you, and it costs you big time.
Ontario's auto regulator says salespeople should spell out the risks involved with negative equity and trade-ins, especially on those long-term loans. But in our hidden camera test, that rarely happened.
We can trade in your vehicle at any time and upgrade you to any other car.
Okay.
You're not losing in any way.
Mohammed Bouchama is a car finance expert.
You're going to lose your shirt. Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy.
This is all about negative equity.
Absolutely.
At 3 or 4 years, you owe more than the car's worth.
A lot more.
Anytime you want to trade it in, you can trade it in. We pay off the loan when you get into your new car.
You pay off the loan?
We do, yes.
Yeah, it's very troubling. Nobody just pays off the loan. To just say, we pay off the loan, well, how do you pay it off? You don't just pay off the loan.
And if Canadians don't understand that, they could find themselves drowning in debt. David Coleman, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, that's just terrible. Well, if you want to see the full marketplace investigation on how not to buy a car, clearly tune in tomorrow night at 8 on CBC Television, online at cbc.ca/marketplace. The At Issue panel is next. We're going to ask, is Canada's new peacekeeping commitment really enough? Andrew, Chantal, Althea, all standing by.
And a little later, I'll take you to the East Coast, where a dairy farmer found a simple fix to a global problem.
It's not a great big multi-million-dollar business, but it's a real business. And you're helping the cow, plus you're helping people, and you're helping the environment at the same time, so you're doing a good thing.
Times have changed. Now, all too often, there is no peace to keep. The conflicts we face today are intractable, more dangerous, and more complex. Modern peace operations take place in a context that transcends borders and includes a challenging range of actors.
That was Justin Trudeau back on Wednesday announcing his plan for Canada's peacekeeping commitment, much later and a little lighter than Liberals' first promise. And even though the House of Commons isn't sitting right now, At Issue sure is. Andrew is in Toronto tonight. Chantal is in Montreal, and Althea Raj is here in Ottawa, just down the hall from me, I think. Good to see everybody. Okay, so let's dig into the peacekeeping thing. I'll start with you, Chantal. Is this what the Liberals telegraphed? Was this the right call?
Two different things. No, this does not live up to what they promoted in their platform. B, yes, the times have changed, but they already started to change when Jean Chrétien was Prime Minister. Yeah. And the conflict, the civil war erupted in the former Yugoslavia. So when that platform was drafted, the times, they had already changed. Rwanda, all these things had happened. Peacekeeping had become peacemaking. Is it the right call? That's a different issue. Possibly. Politically, it's, despite the heat the government gets this week, it's probably the easier call in the sense that beyond all the difficulties and the danger, this notion had set in that the Prime Minister wanted a seat on the UN Security Council, and there was a danger that if he did send the peacekeeping peacemaking mission somewhere. The spin would have been that he was putting young soldiers in harm's way to buy a seat at the Security Council.
That's interesting because, Andrew, I saw it the other way. I wondered whether the announcement would hurt that bid, but now I see Chantal's point.
Well, it's maybe a reason why you shouldn't be so overt in announcing your political intentions vis-a-vis the Security Council seat, because you will be second-guessed one way or the other, as you will be on this. Look, they either knew when they made the promise in October 2015 that times had changed, and they made the promise anyway, or they didn't know, and they should have, and they've only learned this in the last 2 years in office. And either way, it doesn't look terribly good on them. I think it's also going to be interesting to see how our international partners react to this. It's true to say that there's other ways to contribute than just putting boots on the ground, but it's a little bit like the combat mission against ISIS question. Why does it have to be necessarily a choice between the two? And when it comes down to it, the currency of these things is, in terms of respect from other countries, is, are you willing to put your own soldiers' lives on the line? And it's a little easy and cheap to say, well, we'll throw some money at it, but we're not actually going to take the risks.
Although the risk, to the Prime Minister's point, Althea, is much, much higher. I mean, that's you know, that's the facts.
And that's clearly what they spent the last year and a half trying to decide, right? I mean, they made the commitment about 600 Canadian troops going somewhere, 150 police officers, 450 million to some unnamed UN peacekeeping mission. They spent so much time reviewing it. I think the defense minister went to Africa 3 times to look at different possible missions. And then clearly they decided it wasn't worth the risk, and they came up with a strategy where they appear to do a lot, but when you actually look at it, it's not that much. That being said, I don't think the discussion, although that's what the Prime Minister said in his speech this week, I don't think the discussion is really about peacekeeping having become peacemaking. We've known that for decades, actually. I think the discussion that happened in the last year and a half is also that we have a very different Foreign Affairs Minister. Stéphane Dion was a man who believed in a Personian image of Canada abroad and blue bonnets and had a very, I think, romantic notion of peacekeeping. And Ms. Freeland is politically ambitious. Her concern is Donald Trump, and I think that also has a lot to do with this week's announcement.
I'll let you wrap it up, Chantal. Yeah, go.
Yeah, if I can take the issue now, and I agree with Althea about the Stéphane Dion view of the world, but if that is the case, it's because Mr. Dion was not listening to what was being said around the cabinet table when Jean Chrétien was Prime Minister, because all of these issues came up, and the reluctance to engage in those peacemaking missions did not start with Stephen Harper. We had started to withdraw from our strong presence before Stephen Harper became Prime Minister.
And Dion didn't write the platform. I mean, this served the same function as the electoral reform pledge. It was a way of signaling to left-of-center voters, of appealing to that anti-Harper sentiment, that feeling that we needed to change course. So they were perfectly content to reap those votes with this. And as I say, they either knew they weren't going to fulfill the pledge or they didn't. But either way.
Okay, I want to save some time for something that Andrew, if you follow Andrew on Twitter, you know he had much to say about it. He wrote a column about it. But I'm going to start with Althea. I'll make him wait a moment. This mandate letter tracker that the government put out transparently, a place where Canadians can go and say, hey, how are these guys doing on your promises? Is this sort of normal for governments? Don't all governments try and grade themselves, Althea? Because I know there was a lot made about governments can't be objective, but I don't know if that was the point. So how effective is this?
Yeah, I mean, governments tend to do this internally. They don't tend to do this publicly. And because they've made this document public, it's become basically a different version of government spin. So things that if they were really being candid and honest, you know, the budget being balanced by 2019, 2020, they wouldn't put that in the listing of underway with challenges. They would acknowledge that that is a broken commitment, and they would put it in the government speak of not being pursued. They're not being frank. I think that there's a number of risks with this, but at the same time, you know, it's probably a laudable goal that it gives you an indication of what the government thinks of its own accomplishments. But if you're looking at this as a promise tracker, it is not that. And commitments that you care about, whether that's electoral reform or access to information legislation, like a lot of us journalists do on the Hill, you'll realize that the government has taken a very rosy approach to judging its own record.
Way to work in my name. All right, Coyne, off you go.
Well, you know, people will be forgiving of spin, and they'll be glad if you're transparent. What's really intolerable is to try and do both at the same time, and to put out this document as if it's an exercise in accountability, and then just use it to spin. If you were really serious about accountability, you'd get a third party to assess you. You'd make it clear they had an absolutely unvarnished mandate to say whatever they needed to say about it. I mean, the model would be the Auditor General, for example, looking into the government's books. But they didn't do that. They put this thing out, which immediately became, frankly, a laughingstock. And I think they deserve the opprobrium they're getting for it.
Although they're going to put something out in 2 weeks, Chantal, where it's going to be a little more detailed. You'll be able to see, you know, how many roads they built, how many reserves now have drinking water. It'll be a little more practical. Would that help?
Yes and no. I find it very useful because it tells you a lot about the mindset of the government and the kind of lengths they are willing to go language-wise. It's almost 1984 and Orson Welles, the way some of the language is couched. I also think the really useful thing we got from this government was not what happened this week, but what happened way at the beginning when we were given access to the mandate letters, the mission statement for every department. That wasn't fake, and it's really useful. But then, not to date myself, but remember Jean Chrétien and the Red Book? He never said he would do anything about the GST, did he? So we didn't reinvent the wheel this week.
No, and part of the problem was that they were writing this off of the mandate letters and not the platform, and there are discrepancies between the two.
But
as well.
I really wonder.
Yes, exactly. Like door-to-door mail delivery. Remember that? I mean, that was a verbal pledge during the election campaign, but in the mandate letter, and in fact, in the platform document, it just says launch a review to make sure that Canadians get good service at a good price. Well,
the answer is in the mail,
that's not what they told Canadians at the doors.
No, okay. Andrew, Chantal, last word. Yeah.
Well, you just wonder when you see that strange use of language. They couldn't bring themselves to say broken promise. You wonder sometimes whether it's actually as cynical and overt as it seems, or have they just lost contact with reality to that extent? Once you start speaking a language of euphemism that consistently, I think it's very easy just to fall into that and not even know you're doing it.
Okay, you didn't know they were testing weed, eh?
Is that it? That's how we're ending this? All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
That was okay. When we come back, I'll take you to the shores of Prince Edward Island, where an unlikely answer to climate change washes up on the beach all the time. What did you call this? Fufu?
Fufu. There's a real name for this area, and then there's a Latin name, but that's all bullshit to me. I don't know what all that is. We call it fufu.
Unfortunately, in 2017, we will see for the first time in the last 3 years the emissions of greenhouse gases rising again.
That's the UN Secretary General speaking at a climate conference in Bonn, Germany this week. He's urging world leaders to do more to fight climate change. But where to start? Well, this is going to surprise you. Here are all the greenhouse gas emissions on the planet caused by human activity, broken down by sector. You can see agriculture and forestry among the biggest polluters. But drill down a little deeper and get this. Cows alone contribute almost 10% of all emissions. It's all the methane that they quite literally burp out. And there are a lot of cows on this planet, about 1.5 billion of them. So it's something that scientists and researchers have devoted a lot of time and money to exploring. But turns out there's a very simple solution in Prince Edward Island. And the fix may have been right under our noses the entire time.
So we just walk along, we just shake a little bit in the ground.
So it's really just sprinkling on top of the feed that you already have.
Yes, that's it.
And so
Kent Rennie's dairy cattle are eating something most cows never even see in their lifetimes. But with every lick, they're actually helping the environment.
It's a bit of a weird idea.
It's a different idea for sure. And, you know, we said, well, we'll give it a try, no harm. And we seen a difference and liked the idea.
So here they are, cows on the cusp of something big. They don't really look any different from your average run-of-the-mill dairy cow, but it's what's going on the inside that's capturing the world's attention. You see, a lot of methane comes out of a cow's mouth. Some also comes out of the other end. But these cows have managed to reduce their methane emissions by 20%.
feeding them seaweed.
Seaweed?
Yeah.
Do the cows like it?
Yeah, they love it because it's salty. It's probably the main reason they like to eat it.
Here's what we got. There's our Irish moss. There's our fufu. There's our rockweed.
This is Joe Dorgan over in Tignish, PEI. He used to milk cows for a living.
What did you call this? Fufu?
Fufu. There's a real name for it is Fuselaria, and then there's a Latin name, but that's all bullshit to me. I don't know what all that is. We call it fufu.
The way the story goes, many years ago, Joe was looking for new organic ways to feed his cows. He admits cutting methane emissions wasn't exactly top of mind.
How did you even get the idea that if you fed seaweed to cows, maybe it would do them some good?
Well, I knew, I always knew that it was good. The old people, they used it for their fertilizer and for their animal minerals and stuff for their animals years and years ago. So when I changed my my dairy herd organic, I wanted a source of mineral. So I said, let's use what we got.
So Joe, walk me through the process, how you turn the raw, dry stuff into what the cows
This is their raw product.
Yeah.
Put in here, goes up the conveyor belt in the hopper here, goes into our drum system. That takes out the rocks, the sand, as it's going through this here. That comes down into those tubs. It goes through our processor here then, or hammer mill, whichever you want to call it. And that does all the chopping.
Oh, so it's breaking up the clumps of seaweed into something.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what I was seeing over here, which is...
That's the product right here.
Oh, I see, just kind of this...
That's the finished product.
Like a little powder almost, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We figure it's trying to find a solution to a problem we didn't create, so. Well, it certainly makes you feel good because, you know, there's a lot of talk about greenhouse gases and, you know, cows are getting blamed for some of this and the greenhouse gases, even though they've been around for tens of thousands of years and it's not really their fault. If we can help with this problem, then that's great.
I wonder, can you make money from it too?
Well, we're hoping down the road we'll be able to sell some carbon credits from it, but you know, it's not why we're doing it. We started out doing it to improve cow health, and anything else that comes along is a bonus.
Is that something though that could be quite lucrative?
Oh, it could be for sure, because methane is, you know, quite more potent than carbon from a car. So, yeah, that's got possibilities to be an income.
Back in Joe's corner of the island, he too sees the financial benefit of this fix. He just needs more farmers to take notice.
It is a business there now. It's not a great big multi-million-dollar business, but it's a real business. And you're helping the cow, plus you're helping people, and you're helping the environment at the same time, so you're doing a good thing.
So Joe talks about helping the cow, and this was what he was really interested in all along. His cows seemed to give more milk, have stronger reproductive cycles. Even their offspring were healthier. A lot of that's been backed up by science, believe it or not, because methane is effectively wasted energy. So less methane is a good thing. But from here, the story actually gets really exciting because Joe's discovery is tiny compared to what might be coming next. The same researcher who tested Joe's cows, proving they were emitting less methane, ended up going on a worldwide search for a better seaweed that might reduce methane emissions even more. And he found one. All the way in Australia. Asparagopsis taxiformis is the name of that seaweed. Only grows in warmer waters, but listen to him describe what happened when he tested the stuff in the lab and got a methane flatline.
So I redid the experiment and I got the same result again. I was even doubtful the second time because I was seeing no methane at all. It was a complete inhibition, or at least below detection, which is so low, you might as well say that it's gone, because I can measure 99.999% of a reduction.
So eliminating methane altogether, that would be something. Rob Kinley has since been testing the seaweed in live animals and is planning to release the data in the new year. But look, he's already telling us that the findings are better than even he could have expected. So we'll wait for those. He thinks it'll turn the industry on its head.
The Fix. I love it. Remember, you can go deeper on the stories of the day earlier in the day. Subscribe to our newsletter at cbcnews.ca/The National. The National today takes you inside our journalism every afternoon.
On The National tonight, questions for TransCanada after an oil spill in its Keystone pipeline in South Dakota. The company says by the time it was detected this morning, about 5,000 barrels of oil had leaked. The timing sets up a few tense days for TransCanada. Next week, it's expecting Nebraska to decide if it will allow the company's XL pipeline through the state. And we're waiting to see what happens next after Ontario's premier stepped in to try to bring a province-wide college strike to an end. The strike has shut 500,000 college students out of classrooms for nearly 5 weeks now. Today, union members rejected the latest offer and talks broke down. That prompted Premier Kathleen Wynne to step in.
We need those young people back in class immediately. I would very much like to see students back early next week. So I mean immediately.
That was on CBC Radio earlier today. A couple hours later, her government announced plans to table legislation soon to send college staff back to work. The provincial NDP blocked an attempt to get it done today, but the Liberals say with the Conservative support, they hope to table the legislation tomorrow afternoon. Quite an entrance. To wrap the program, here's the culmination of what's been a lot of hype for a truck. That's Tesla CEO Elon Musk with tonight's big unveil, a brand new electric semi-truck. According to Musk, it can go up to 800 kilometers on one charge at max weight and speed, and apparently it won't take long to charge either, just 30 minutes for more than 600 kilometers of range. But here's the big surprise announcement. The new Tesla Roadster, a four-seater built by Musk as the fastest production car ever. He says it can go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 1.9 seconds and can travel up to 1,000 kilometers on one charge. Musk says it'll be on the market by 2020. And it's with that story we'll leave things tonight. That's The National for November 16th. Thanks for joining us.
Good night. Good night.